So what if the secret to great leadership wasn't about you being the smartest person in the room? What if it was about making everyone else smarter? Well, that's the powerful idea we're diving into today from Liz Wiseman's groundbreaking book, Multipliers. It's a radical rethink for a world that really depends on collective brilliance, not just individual genius.
And this, right here, is the core thesis. It's a whole leadership style that's rooted not in ego, but in generosity, in challenge, and in trust. The entire book really pivots on this one simple but profound belief. The best leaders don't shine, they make others shine.
So how do we actually become this kind of leader? Great question. Over the next few minutes, here's our plan. We'll explore this new paradigm, really understand the stark difference between leaders who multiply intelligence and those who diminish it, dive into 5 super practical disciplines you can start using today, see how these ideas create real-world impact, and then finally, we'll reflect on the inner shift that's required to truly lead this way.
You know, for a long time, we've seen leadership as a function of control, charisma, and just having the right credentials. But Wiseman completely flips that on its head. She rebuilds the whole archetype with this incredible mix of humility and boldness. See, multipliers aren't passive, they're intentional architects of environments where other people can flourish, channeling intelligence outward and turning every single interaction into a learning opportunity.
And don't make the mistake of thinking this is some soft, feel-good framework. It is absolutely not. It's rigorous, it's strategic, and it is laser-focused on results. The return on investment for being a multiplier is tangible. You get higher engagement, you get smarter decisions, and you get teams that can scale far beyond the capacity of any single leader.
So this brings us to the book's core conflict, this huge divide between multipliers and their opposites, diminishers. And as Wiseman points out, the difference isn't really about character or even intention. It's all about impact.
Just look at how this plays out. It all starts with one core belief. A multiplier believes people are smart, and they'll figure it out. A diminisher, on the other hand, believes people just won't get it without them. And that single belief, well, it changes everything. It dictates whether you empower or control, whether your style is inclusive or isolated, and ultimately, whether your team's energy is lifted by trust or just completely drained by micromanagement. One path leads to innovation, the other to stagnation.
But here's what's so revolutionary about this. It's Wiseman's empathy. She argues that most diminishers aren't tyrants. They're actually high achievers whose best intentions just backfire. So the book doesn't label or shame. It really just invites every leader to evolve. So, if you're maybe an accidental diminisher, how do you make the shift? That's where the 5 key disciplines come in. This is Wiseman's pragmatic and psychologically sound framework for completely rewiring your leadership mindset. They are the talent magnet, the liberator, the challenger, the debate maker, and the investor. So let's briefly touch on what makes each one so incredibly powerful.
First up, the talent magnet. They don't just hire smart people. They find that hidden brilliance and create roles where people are stretched to do the best work of their entire careers, and ultimately, they become talent magnets themselves.
Next, the liberator. Now this is about creating an intense environment that is also safe. Liberators demand your best work, for sure, but they also give people permission to think, to speak up, and to make mistakes.
Then, there's the challenger. Instead of just telling people what to do, they seed opportunities and lay down challenges that really stretch the team to discover what they're truly capable of. And they're always asking one simple question.
Why not? It's amazing, right? This simple question expands possibility, totally unlike the command, "you must," which just limits it.
Fourth is the debate maker. You see, multipliers make sound decisions by sparking rigorous debate. They don't have all the answers. Instead, they use their questions to draw out the collective intelligence of the whole team.
And finally, the most transformational of all, the investor. They give other people ownership and full accountability for results, acting like a coach on the sidelines, not a controller on the field. They build teams that can thrive even when they're not there.
So, when you put all these disciplines together, a deeper truth emerges. This isn't just about getting more out of people. It's about a fundamental shift in purpose. See, multipliers build leaders, not followers.
Okay, but does this stuff actually work in the real world? Let's look at the impact. Wiseman's research isn't just theoretical. It spans all kinds of industries, from education and tech to nonprofits and huge Fortune 500 companies.
And the shifts are so tangible. We see leaders moving from being the hero with all the answers to being the guide with all the right questions. We see turnover drop while innovation just skyrockets. Teams start taking initiative without waiting for permission, and suddenly, the employee experience really truly aligns with the company's mission.
And best of all, Wiseman gives you a toolkit to make it happen. It's full of actionable strategies, like simple language replacements. Just swapping, here's what to do for, what do you think, can fundamentally change a team's dynamic. It's a real roadmap for real behavioral change.
But look, all these tools and techniques only work if we're willing to make an inner shift. And this is the final and probably the most profound part of the journey, leading beyond the self. It's moving from an identity built on ego to one that's built on the elevation of others.
Leading this way means getting comfortable with ambiguity. It demands a willingness to be wrong, a genuine delight in the success of other people, and the quiet courage to delegate real power, not just tasks. For any leader who's driven by legacy and service, this is the real work.
And this has never been more relevant. In an era of remote work, decentralization, and just widespread burnout, people don't want managers. They want enablers. They crave psychological safety and intellectual stretch. Multiplier speaks not just to the metrics of productivity, but really to the soul of modern collaboration.
It all comes down to a final, profound question. What is the true legacy of a leader? Wiseman's work reminds us that leadership, at its very best, isn't an act of dominance, it's an act of devotion. True legacy isn't what we achieve alone, but what we awaken in others.
Because in the end, to multiply isn't just to lead, it's to liberate.